welcome back everybody for the Friday night's LCK Analyst Desk. And today we'll be joined by Changhyun Lee, Pon, and Lyra. And this is season with the translation. Afreeca Freecs take on Team Dynamics, and it's been a while since we had this kind of a long series, and after such a long game, Afreeca Freecs managed to grab a win. Looking at the pick and ban, Team Dynamics got a lot of counter picks. I think both teams prepared a very different style of draft. Afreeca Freecs was having a very strong lane picks, and Team Dynamics were trying to get the strong team fight picks. DYN is a really good champion into some of the champions that doesn't really have ability to escape fights. Even though Team Dynamics was a little bit behind during the laning phase, they were able to find an edge during team fights and even was so close to turning the game around. Shondo, Heimerdinger are also a good partner for DYN, but Afreeca this time around picked J4, a champion that Spirit has a very high proficiency. Because there were a lot of actions and fights, it was really entertaining to watch this game overall. DYN, Bard, and Gangplank, they did manage to show a huge power spike. However, Afreeca also managed to fight really well. And Keen made a huge contribution in this fight. Syndra was moving toward top lane without TP. So Team Dynamics was trying to open fight in this mid lane. Ash was able to drag Team Dynamics players near the mid lane tier 2 turret. And they were so close to losing this fight, Bard started to turn the fight around in the favor of Afreeca Freecs, and Keen went in to re-engage this fight and even dodges that Q from Zoe. This was purely because of Keen's high-level mechanics. And then because rest of the Team Dynamics champions got knocked up by J4, and Afreeca Freecs was able to get all the kills. We had a very even kill score and also even Dragon soul points. Mystic, with a crazy kiting skill, he closed out this game. GP, his ult was down. DYN, his ult was down. Well, I mean, Fly did got cut out, and it seemed like Team Dynamics was able to win this game. However, because of the delay coming out from DYN's charging, and also Ash was able to keep kiting. So this was the main reason that Afreeca Freecs winning that fight. Because DYN was charging or reloading his bullets, well, Mystic and Ash was able to endlessly kite the enemies. Afreeca didn't avoid to take the fights that Team Dynamics was trying to open. And we could see why Mystic was one of the best AD carries for such a long time. Now it's time to check out the player of the game on the side of Afreeca Freecs. There were two main carries on top and bottom, but this time around it's gonna be Keen on Akali picking up this player of the game. It is true that Afreeca was so close to losing this game, but in so many team fights, Keen was able to win this fight for Afreeca Freecs single-handedly. I mean, if you are a bad Akali player, well, you can just die in your Shroud, but in that Shroud, Keen was sidestepping all of the critical skills coming out from the opponents, and the way he juggles the aggro was also on point. Even though he was playing an assassin champion, he was doing so many roles by himself. Ash and DYN is a very common matchup coming into the bottom lane, but DYN actually has a winning edge in terms of match score. He almost unanimous vote over to him for this POG. Now it's time to move on to game number 2. Afreeca versus Team Dynamics.
Thank you, T-Sun, as always, for the wonderful translation as Jonas Strong runes the unanimity, is that how you say that? The unanimous votes that would have been because he is an AD carry player and he votes for the AD carry. So thank you, Jonas Strong, for that. But Keen is going to pick up the player of the game, as is well deserved. Obviously, as we mentioned, jokes aside, Mystic did also have a fantastic game. But I think that Keen was kind of number one in terms of turning the tide back into the favor of Afreeca for them to secure that game, as it was a very tumultuous back and forth game one.
Yeah.
LS. We'll see what happens here in the next one.
It was certainly very nice. The worrisome thing though for Dynamics here in game number 2 is, again, like I said at the very end of last game, I do not think they will get that kind of a draft edge again. So what's going to happen when they're on a much more even footing and fall behind in the early stages of the game? If that does end up happening, Dynamics, we're going to open with a Twisted Fate ban. Azir now. Going to bite the dust.
Whoa. Fast bans.
Yeah, very fast bans. Garen and Volibear. 2 out of the 3. They're all brothers, actually. You know?
When are we going to have Garen back in the meta?
When Volibear... Garen, no. When Volibear shaves a lot, he ends up looking like... He looks
Olaf?
like Olaf, yeah. And
Yeah.
when he shaves his facial hair and he dyes it, then he becomes Set. They're all actually twins at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Just Riot wants to hide that from you.
One Direction.
Yeah.
That's forward. They're all fans of the band as well. It's weird the way that works. As Caitlyn is coming out here. Here we go, guys. We are going to have our second game of Caitlyn. You can see it did lose the first time. We did see it yesterday. As to remind you all, we're here on patch 10.15. As Caitlyn has received a bit of a buff and has come back into the meta.
And the thing... Ooh, that's a very early Karthus.
Whoa, Nelly!
So, the only thing I can think of is if they're intending to flex it. Now, one of the things that comes to mind is when Spirit was not trolling when he said that it's not a good champion. And yet, here we are wanting it. Now, I made a series of tweets about Karthus, actually, yesterday, that typically, when you draft him early, he can be answered. And Aphelios coming in is very strange because Caitlyn thematically answers him very well because she outranges him and creates a lot of terrain problems for him in teamfights with her traps. So now it's on Dynamics to actually sculpt anti-Karthus champions together. Just champions that either can avoid Requiem or absorb.
Wow.
Okay, there it is. There's one. Multi-man barrier, obviously, inside of team fights can help invalidate that. Also, long range, terrain control, very problematic for Aphelios. And Lux is able to be flexed mid and support. We'll have to see where she ends up. Now, one of the interesting things about Afreeca, though, is I'm curious if they're intending to potentially utilize the flex. And beyond, he's locking in Olaf, and I actually wonder if this is because he can't play any of the Karthus counters, and Nidalee is already banned away. One of the other Karthus counters, but probably no one in the LCK is really going to be willing to pull her out, would be Evelynn. And
who's that?
Yeah, well, she's still invisible here, so not a big deal.
I don't know who you're talking about. Never seen her before.
He's going to play Olaf, and it's definitely very scary, so we'll have to see how the remainder of the game goes. Nautilus comes in as a means to try to engage of some sorts. Galio getting banned away, that's another anti-Karthus kind of champion. And again, will they flex it? Because in theory, he can go mid-top or jungle, depending on how you would want to utilize it. He did just get nerfed in 10.16.
Well,
but not the end of the day. This is 10.15.
Yeah, we're going to exist on this patch for a little bit here. I would imagine we're going to be here for 2 weeks, and then probably 10.16 for week 10.
Yeah,
would be my guess.
Yone disabled.
Yeah, week 10 and playoffs. 10.16.
10.16, I feel like a lot of people probably, like, they peepo arrive because they think Yone is going to be there.
Yeah.
And then when they see the thumbnail that says that he's disabled, they peepo leave. That's actually it. And then after LCK ends, LEC comes on, and then there's Crown Shot on SK.
Yeah.
And then they wide people happy.
Yeah, white people happy.
Yeah.
The classic. I don't think we're going to see Ari here, guys. I don't think that's the pick. Zoe is kind of like Ari, but 1,400 years older. As here's Syndra. Neither of those champions will be selected, as maybe trying to bait out a little bit from the side of Dynamics.
And also, I mean, Syndra, she loathes Karthus, and Karthus loathes her inside of the team comp because it creates easier ways to itemize against both. And then they're sort of like a two-headed ogre blaming each other. I wish I could have
similar
it from Warcraft. Yeah. And they're both yelling. Karthus is actually yelling at her right now.
Syndra's like the cat in that meme where the woman's yelling at her.
Yeah. Karthus has the same face.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well.
Pretty good. Well.
I guess that's Karthus mid.
Are you ready?
And that's a lot of magic damage already.
Summon Godzilla. Let me see him. Let me see him. R5. No, it wouldn't make any sense here, to be completely frank with you. Ooh, Aurelia's pretty nice. Now, that's a Karthus ally. And what I mean by ally is, historically, when Karthus was a monster and he could be picked super early, B1, R1, R2, etc., there were many other champions that existed in the meta at that point. Aurelia was one of them, Akali in her old state, Urgot, Aatrox. These were all champions that were very prevalent and could just take things over on their own, and they had very little responses. So Karthus had many friends back in the day. Obviously, Aurelia, she comes in as more so a counter now. Still an ally, though. One of the best champions for Karthus to be paired with. And we'll have to see what ends up happening here. If they go the distance, Karthus and Syndra are going to get invalidated. It's just going to be so hard for Spirit.
There's a million
and
shields.
Fly. Yeah, there's a million shields. Karma's going to get Athene's Unholy Grail.
So much MR.
There's going to be so much MR on the enemy team. Requiem will just not deal damage, and so I'm curious to see if Spirit will actually go the supportive Karthus route with Rylai's and Leandri's in order to provide slows and disruption.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. This is a very straightforward... They're chasing after Soul while also having a much better late game than Afreeca. The issue is, though, is that it's Duck Dom on Caitlyn. So, we talked about this yesterday, that Caitlyn's a champion that when you think of her, you think of pristine mechanics. And you think of someone that can really utilize the spacing and the pressure. And I just, honestly, I'm not giving credit over.
Yeah, to be honest, right as you mentioned Duck Dom, I had to look down at my pick ban sheet to remember what champion he was playing in the last game. And it's generally not a good sign. So it's pretty unfortunate for him. He looked okay when we saw him in promotions, when Dynamics were winning, but it's easy to play Aphelios before he gets nerfed as your team is winning, right? That's a totally different situation. Now it's like he's in the big leagues and he's surrounded by all these titans in the AD carry role. And, you know, he can't do it alone either. You know, it's not all on him. I think he and Guger as a duo have struggled. So
yeah,
it's not easy, but he's going to try to use the Caitlyn, which is obviously very powerful nowadays.
And Fly starting off by taking a little bit of damage, and now taunting Kuzan here. By the way, I think the way that this lines up is, okay, so Karma did get a Mana Flow band, but they're both going to be missing some resources here as soon as the lane starts. Not the end of the world. Also, the Scorch on Syndra. Really
second time in a row.
Yeah, this is definitely interesting. And also Spirit going Presence of Mind on Karthus. We saw this yesterday as well.
Do you know the...
right. Minigame.
Yeah, okay.
How fast can Spirit clear?
Always got to pay attention to that.
305 is like the baseline, like, accepted. But if you're absolutely inhuman, you can do it sub 3 minutes. You can do it sub 255.
Whoa.
And that is a massive difference. If you're really, really, really bad at using his lay waste and weaving in his autos and kiting the patience on the camps, you can have something as horrendous and terabad as like 325, 330.
Okay, I'm going to remember those adjectives that you used. And we'll see how it lines up here for our Afreeca jungler, who, as you mentioned, he also said in an interview that he thought that Karthus was just bad. And now he's playing it, which is, it's pretty interesting to note that. So maybe he was doing a little bit of trolling, or maybe he has come to see the light. And we'll have to wait and see here. He's cutting the right down towards the Raptors. Probably going to start kiting it up here. It's actually the only thing I'm watching right now. Is the bottom lane is kind of, you know, they're going to do a bit of trading back and forth, but they should be okay.
Looks like they're just gonna, they're just gonna get shoved in here, and Mystic not really suffering all that much. I mean, him and Ben are still very high HP.
Ooh, 3 minutes.
3 minutes, and Spirit almost at 305. It's still actually a little bit slow.
Yeah.
Not the end of the world. All right, so it's about 5-6 seconds.
Yes, you know.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's around average. Not bad. He's going to get that good clear off, and Olaf is going to have a similar clear. And he's immediately running up towards the top side here. Oh. Knows that Karthus doesn't necessarily go for it, and the back was delayed, actually. Yeah,
this is actually a really big deal. Olaf, if he kites the crab towards mid lane, Karma has prio, Bot has prio. Olaf can double crab. Fly has no mana, he can just run through mid.
It's like he wants to hide it. It looks like he's still going to the bottom side, but he doesn't want to show.
There's nothing to really hide. You know, everyone knows that this is what you have to go for. This is pretty much forced. And yeah, I mean,
he's going to get it anyway, it looks like.
Yeah, it does look like he will get it anyway. Fly getting rolled in mid lane here.
Yeah,
right now.
I don't really know how that happens.
Okay.
Yeah, you can get back on a controller. Nice little bit of poke there from Spirit. And Olaf will now go for the back. As, mid's going well. The jungle seemingly pretty even for now. As Olaf is going to be a little bit later to get onto the map. He took a little bit of extra time and safety to be on, as we did mention before. But other than that, not much other action other than the bottom lane, which is obviously doing quite well with the Caitlyn Lux.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Spirit, I mean, he's just playing single player on Karthus. He's perma-farming all of his camps, trying to clear them off reset. Okay, I don't see, this is where it gets really weird. Dynamics outscales. They outscale Afreeca, and Beyond is going for these very coin flippy plays. If Karthus was just kiting to the right, nothing happens. He doesn't get a steal. And he's just delaying the capture of all of his camps, and this doesn't matter either. I mean, he's just flipping coins for no reason. So when you see this, it's not justifiable. It's not like, oh, well, he wants
to Cougar. I think Cougar might be going down here. No, he's still got flash too, actually. So the route, in the end, isn't going to amount to much, and they do not continue to chase there, knowing Cougar still has his summoners available.
So right now, on the minimap, we just see Olaf. He's choosing Wolf as his first starting camp. The amount of pressure he's under right now, because he just blundered the last 30 seconds away for pretty much nothing. He did get the big Raptor as a steal away, but now his jungle, it's like a 7-10 split right now. He's going to get the Raptor camp, but then his Gromp has yet to be consumed, and then so do the Krugs. So it's very awkward because all of Karthus' camps, they just keep lining up, and he's ticking. He's ticking away, and eventually he'll explode.
We haven't seen too much from the top lane. This is going to be a turnaround here as Ignite will come in, but still going for the chase as the mark is onto Rich. You can see Keen, he was thinking about it, but a little bit of burn damage. Maybe coming in there, he gets aggro, and he will have to back away now, as neither of those top laners do have teleport anymore. As a nice little trade back and forth. This Scuttle Crab, finally Spirit's going to be able to pick up one for his own, and they're actually pinging the dragon. They at least saw that he was doing the scuttle crab, but he's not actually going to go for the dragon just yet.
And this is really interesting. Fly has lost Chapter, and yet they're not just giving the blue buff to Spirit to speed everything up. Instead, Fly's actually taking it. And given that Syndra doesn't play a very key part in anything going on right now, it surprises me a bit. Beyond's now going to make his way to his stunted Grom. So Spirit just very far ahead.
Poor Grom taking all the blame. Now he's the stunted one.
Yep.
Feels bad.
Not a whole lot really going on, though. Nice little stun there, but Chalice already complete, so Karma with the magic resistance.
Really, the only thing that the blue does is help with pushing the lane, right? I mean, it's not like he's going to be able to spam down the Karma with 3 corrupting pots and Chalice. Like, I don't think that's going to happen.
So the blue buff combined with the Lost Chapter passive and the fact that Syndra can go back to full mana, it lets Fly sustain into either blasting plus boots or just outright into Ludens, depending on how Fly plays the lane. So there is that upside. We'll have to see. And Beyond is, he's flipping again. It's just, it's
Draggy Ice.
Really insane.
Okay, Flash comes in here, and they're just going to run down Spirit. No way he can get away now, as the Requiem will come in, as that is not going to be enough damage. Fly looking for it. Look at the rotation coming up from Ben at the same time. They really want to try to continue. The Flash comes in, and it's not enough damage. The shield as well, the Inspire from Kuzan. A little bit late, but does not matter. And now the Flash, just extra, taken away from Afreeca.
Yeah, and now, Afreeca, they are feeling probably under a bit of pressure. This is a double buff Karma now. And so Spirit, even though he ended up securing the red, the follow-up just really not quite there. It wasn't able to utilize the passive of Death Defied. And Duckdom and Googer down here in bot lane. They do have a small CS advantage. If Vilios gets all 3 of these, then they're up about 9. Not the end of the world. But I think if you're a Dynamics fan, you're feeling pretty comfortable right now. All things considered. And that Mountain Dragon is actually, it's so important for both of these parties. Afreeca needs to really deny it away from Dynamics, but Dynamics need to get it because every little bit of extra armor and MR against this Afreeca comp is so big, even though it's only 1. Keen. Oh, we're doing a little bit of freezing up here.
Yeah.
A little bit of that.
I like it. And I like how Keen is. He's kind of been given the go-ahead to just play whatever kind of really aggressive, mechanically challenging champion that he wants, right? Plays game number 1 Akali, game number 2 Aurelia. That's not it's not your normal repertoire for top laners. You see a lot of Kennen, some Renekton, of course. Easier stuff. But Keen, he gets the go-ahead. And I would do the same for Keen, as we're going to try to break this down as well again.
Well, we can just see Spirit. He ends up getting it, and then right here in the brush, when all of the vision is just gone, I would have actually expected them to just start turning it immediately so that they're pulled into an awkward situation and Syndra can just sort of free deal from that point, and you can utilize
got a fight going here as he's going for the kill. The autos will be enough, and the TP is not going to come in from Kuzan as he got denied at the same time. So Keen with the straight-up solo kill, and now Beyond has to stem this hurt up in the top side. So once again, Keen he's doing his job. He's trying to carry his team.
Yeah, and he's just doing so well right now. He's up almost 30 CS. He also has the ability to probably get a turret plate on this next wave. He's going Blade of the Ruin King first on Aurelia here. And now Spirit is going to start up the Mountain Dragon. Olaf's going to be a little bit too late. Today is not the day. Syndra able to crash in that wave. She has the first response and the low ground over the right-hand side. And Ben really keeping Googer and Duckdom honest. And this is not the kind of pressure that you would want out of Kate and Lux. And so, in an unfortunate turn of events, Dynamics, they actually lose the first Mountain after such a strong start for their mid and bot.
Yeah, and I don't really know how they managed that, but the end of the day, we have Keen once again going for the solo kill, and he might just get it here. Well, not going to continue there. Neither of them had flash of it.
Yeah.
Or not flash, ultimate. Sorry.
And Requiem's available, so remember that. I have no idea what Beyond's doing. He's flipping so many coins, man. He's and gambling.
Flipping coins is really fun.
Okay.
It's just, it's a little bit addicting. You want to, you know,
all right,
gotta tone it down a little bit.
Gonna be summoned down here in bottom lane.
Yeah, they're gonna get all those plates, of course, for the bottom side of the map. Keen here, at the same time, is he is dumpstering this top lane, by the way. This isn't just the solo kill, it's also the massive CS difference that you can see is pretty insane, as we're gonna look at this as well.
We're gonna take a look at this.
그냥 테란 탔어.
Said, yeah.
가는 거 같은데?
I teleported. I got this guy.
끊어도 생각해볼게. 잘 끊어줄 수 있어. 끊어줄게.
I can stop it, I can stop it.
나이스.
Nice. Oh, it was a nice F key, I think, too. On a fly, you know?
Oh.
Oh.
Getting me excited.
Yeah.
Fly, he knows what's up. He's been watching some Faker streams, some LS streams.
F keys are definitely nice.
No!
Oh. Well. Who's on now with the blue? I mean, he's winning lane in the CS department. He also had so much control earlier after the double buff gift and Syndra losing her flash, but never really find any way to utilize it. By the way, I don't believe that Olaf has used Predator. Right? I mean, it's really weird. Because everyone's just been pushing, and that's not what you do when you have Olaf. You try to lane manipulate.
Maybe he used it in the fight over the red buff that one time. That's really the only time I think that he may have used it. And be honest, he just loves being next to Karthus. If Karthus is there, he's there. Look at him, he's like, okay, I'll catch him going south now. Just gonna find a control ward as... Okay, here we go. They've got the Requiem. Do they have the damage? Looks like the no with the exhaust that comes out of Guger. Also flash and heal used by Duckdom, but double flash by Afreeca.
Yeah, double flash by Afreeca. I don't know why Spirit went over to the right-hand side if Ben was going to go in. Because Karthus can just be there with Wall of Pain and try to set up even more. So... a little bit reckless there, but not the end of the world. And you can see the double magic resist item on Karma. And when she has her mantra shields in the later stages, it definitely hurts. Chalice also on Lux to make things worse. Eventually, Kennen will probably get Banshee's Veil.
I think this is just going to turn into the Keen show again.
Yeah,
the Keen Mystic show.
Keen needs to show up, and Mystic needs to show up. And oddly enough, they're on two champions that shouldn't be able to do it against the enemy team comp. Aurelia should get locked up and be unable to really break through dynamic. And Apilio shouldn't be able to play the game with how much terrain control dynamics have. But it's going to be on the two champions that have the hardest time to try to carry this one home. Because Syndra, I mean, she's so far behind. Okay.
Yeah, you'd see the magic resistance coming in as he's not even going to be in range to ultimate, and now he has to flash just to make sure he can't get locked down. Fly, it looks like he's a little bit frustrated with that Karma, with this lane. Trying to combo her down and having really no success. Now Beyond is here just to say hello with TP coming in. We have the second Rift Herald to end the Cloud Drake coming up near the same time. And so both of these teams are going to focus on this. Looks like they want to come up here and take Shirley, potentially. But need to catch the top wave at the same time.
And Cloud Dragon should just go the way of Afreeca. And if you're Afreeca here, the Drake that you want to roll is Infernal. So
for sure,
you want to just have as much damage as you possibly can to try to chew through. Ocean doesn't have as much purpose, except for the Aurelia? I mean, Aurelia and Syndra, I guess, can benefit a bit. But again, it's just not as reliable as the straight-up raw engage because of the way that the team fights are going to unfold.
Infernal it is. Oh, Cougar. Oh, he's lucky he dodged that Moonlight Vigil. Otherwise, that could have been a dead Lux. As Ben he's just hanging out, trying to bait here for his team, and he might just be able to, as Beyond will go down eventually. That's going to be a good trade for Afreeca in the 1-for-1. And yeah, they're also going to get that kill over to the Karthus. So definitely love to get some more items and try to get ahead of all the magic resistance stack that is on the side of Team Dynamics. That kill will help do just that.
Oh. Afreeca.
Oh, really trying to go 1v1 here as the Protobelt comes in, and Mystic gonna get the root, but he's dead. There was no vision, and he just was like, yeah, I should be safe here, but Cannon is going to kill him 100 out of 100 times there.
Interesting thing here as well is at I'm trying to okay, so let's say the R hits. You're not going in.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I honestly I think it was probably just a fat finger. Now, this is also an example where, so Spirit, he's going for Leandries. And one of the upsides with Leandries when the opponent has so much MR is, well, it still deals the damage to the epic monsters, so Dragon and Baron. You get extra damage there. But with all the MR stack, you need penetration eventually, and so I'm curious to see if he will go Leandries into Rylai's for that support type playstyle. Ben does end up dying here, but not before helping Spirit pick himself up a kill.
That's
여기
always a
와드예요?
good trade.
I can go here.
Just saying
Their
is their award. And
앞에다 볼게요 그럼 제가.
I'm just gonna try to see if they're, you know.
that was
아.
pretty straightforward from him. What?
He's laughing. It's almost like I don't.
There's no analysis for that.
Yeah.
There's nothing to say about that.
He definitely.
Let's just hope that was an embarrassed laugh.
Maybe he
not
hit.
Maybe
He thought he hit P and he was gonna type in Leandries to get the item in the inventory, and then no, that wouldn't even make. I don't.
Well, they're in a lot of trouble here. The flash comes out of Mystic, but he just can't play against this comp. And Afreeca, they kind of look all over the place now. They're going to get caught out there farming way down the lane. But I suppose at least Cannon is not down in the bottom lane. So Keen says, well, I'm going to attack here. Notices they're moving towards Baron. He doesn't have teleport, so he's got to move up. But then they notice that they're not doing the Baron, so he'll move down and take the turret.
Yep. He's going to go back down here. And Aurelia's about 13 and a half. See where she is at the very end of this wave. Should be about 13.6, 13.7. Oh!
How is this happening?
Okay.
That's, we've had a lot of unfortunate plays here in this game. I do not want to relive
Syndra is building a Banshee's Veil instead of just spacing correctly. It's really, it's all just coming together. That's all I can really say.
It is
Take
what
a look
it is.
at Ben and Mystic just being caught out in mid lane. Nothing really makes a whole lot of sense here. And Dynamics, they look like they're going to be the ones that pick up the Infernal Dragon. I mean, I can't see a world where they wouldn't. One of the criticisms I would have for Olaf in this game is not just going Solari, because when Karthus presses Requiem, you just all stand in a ball and activate it and then laugh. You actually type in all chat, haha.
Yeah. That's going to have a lot more value than your own individual MR.
You could, you could ask, how are you feeling right now?
Yeah. How does it feel to go up against me, the Olaf Chad? Here's Team Dynamics on the Infernal. Should be able to just burst this down.
If Afreeca take this fight and lose it, they're most likely... Oh, okay.
Well, it's a good start for Dynamics, as you can see already. Just able to zone them out. Oh, man, nothing is going right now, as they're going to go to the back line, though. Here comes Keen, trying to do that damage, and he will get the Lux, but only the Lux. But still, the Karthus damage and Mystic alive. They're getting poked out, though, as a nice Q onto Rich, but Duckdom still alive, able to zone them away with that range as the flash from Spirit. Well, that was never going to work. Duckdom is just going to walk away. And there you go. 5,000 damage will go the way of Duckdom. And once those fights break down, this Caitlyn just begins to take over.
Yeah, I mean, you see the problems unfolding inside of the fights. The Aurelia R ends up whiffing. The items are also not super great. Let's take a look at this one more time. Ben on Nautilus, not really doing anything because he doesn't have the ability to. Vanguard's ends up whiffing. He's fighting onto the Olaf. Karthus is not super high up, and just look at the Slicing Maelstrom. It's basically saying, hey, Syndra and Aphelios, you can't enter the game. There's so much terrain control. It's just so problematic for these champions because they're just so off-theme with each other. And Karthus is not doing any damage, unfortunately.
Yeah, he got the Requiem, which got denied by tons of shields, one stopwatch, just pretty much everything that Team Dynamics had in their kit, and then he got one Q to kill Rich, and that was it. So definitely not getting the value. Even though Keen misses Vanguard's heads, he still landed a pretty sick stun onto the back line, and we also had the follow-up couple of stuns come in from Fly, so if those didn't hit, I think it would have just been a landslide victory for Team Dynamics. And it is showing that Afreeca, with some of their top players, are still trying to carry it from here. But the Karthus definitely not getting the value we would have liked here, as now Team Dynamics is going to try to move on in to the enemy jungle and take what they can.
Well, Dynamics are in a pretty commanding position. It's not just a 4,000 gold lead. It's also that their comp is a lot better, and the Infernal Dragon. And interestingly enough, the Infernal Dragon, because it gives Karma more AP, it converts into more EHP. So in a weird way, that's also giving health over to Dynamics, which is even more scary. Yeah, the Baron is, he's gone.
Yep. See you later, Baron. Good friend of Team Dynamics now. You can see Afreeca. At least they don't do the thing that we see some teams do where it's like, oh, you're going to take the Baron. We must fight. We have to go in. And sometimes it makes sense where it's like, if they get this, the game is over. We have to fight. But sometimes like this, I mean, obviously you're in a really precarious situation, but I don't think they, I don't think the game is unwinnable from here, but we'll have to see. Things obviously looking really good for Team Dynamics, who they definitely look, I think, better in this series, I would have to say, compared to some of the 5 losses they've taken in a row in the past.
Well, they're in a very commanding position. This Baron's going to persist into the next dragon.
Oh boy. Oh,
Spotted, yeah.
Yeah, that's Olaf.
Yeah.
And look at him. He's getting shielded to oblivion.
Look at the damage.
Yeah.
So Aphelios can damage him, but
you can't get in range most of the time.
Oh, and there's the...
Okay, well... Yeah.
It's really sad. This is...
Okay, nice engage here, but the stopwatch, and in goes Keen, but he's exhausted immediately. Rich, though, okay, they're going to trade top laners here. And wow, that Caitlyn damage is insanity. What he's able to do. Ben is trying so hard, it's Mystic. Now on the engage, he's going to be able to take down Beyond. And the triple kill goes to Spirit, of all people in this game. As we got 30 seconds to the Infernal, they're going to stand on it and try to take it.
Valdez, I am so so perplexed right now. Even Rich, I mean, look at the player cam. He probably can't believe it right now. Caitlyn had one job and just couldn't do it. Ben found the needle in the haystack in that fight. We're going to see it in the replay. Karth is now with the Void Stab. Will Karma have Death Cap by that Infernal Soul fight? That's going to be the big question. Kuzan is over here with Googer, but yeah, I mean, Infernal, it will go the way of Afreeca unless Lux?
They have some burst, and it is going to go the way of Spirit. So nice little smite there. Be able to take that one down.
All right, so let's take a look at this team fight. Just look at how pathetic the damage by Fly and Spirit is in this team fight. Requiem ends up coming out, and then it gets laughed at. The shields are just so much, and then for some reason, Rich runs forward. Look at Aurelia. This is what we were alluding to earlier. She can't go backline. There's too many shields. There's too many ways to lock her up and then just knock her down. But Ben, needle in the haystack. Beyond just had to eat the hook and everything would just end. So Dynamics is on such a different page there. And so Karthus with his Defile just running with all the lay waste ends up finally getting a triple kill. Has the Void Staff. Dynamics are now trying to shift into some siege here. The Baron has really helped Rich stabilize the EXP as well against Keen.
Take a look at the shielding here in this game. It's actually less than I thought it would be. I mean, it's still obviously a lot. But still.
I don't know how to read this.
We're going to have even more.
I'll be honest with you.
So the little number was healed and the big number was shielded, and they put it together. And I think it's the amount of damage that was denied or returned.
Okay.
So
Lux is denied. All right. Well,
a good 4,000 damage.
If you look at a lot of the team fights, the shields come out when the key ability casts are coming in. So those are pretty key denials.
That is true.
That's a weird graphic to read, though. I'm just not used to it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's Adaptive Helm on Olaf.
Where is the locket?
Yeah, I don't know where the Solari locket is.
Someone's got to build it eventually, right?
I really feel like people have forgotten what the item does. But
maybe, what's his name, Boris? Maybe Boris just tricked them into believing it doesn't
you know
exist
what?
anymore.
Cheryl. Well, I have no idea if that's her name, but Cheryl, the shopkeeper at the bottom left, the cat lady.
Oh, okay.
She has like a worn out book on the top shelf. If you ever zoom in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of sounds like old Yumi.
You go to buy that book because you're like, wow, that really looks historic and cool. I would really like that as, you know, a house decorating. She like puts it in a bag and boxes it up, wraps it all nice for you with ribbon and stuff. You get home, you open up, and it's a Morello.
Oh, God.
That's the only way she can sell it, you know?
The worst possible outcome.
That's how they advertise it.
Some shady business deals. You should probably talk to the Leandri salesman. I hear he's really on the street and narrow.
You know, he got lost.
Yeah?
What happened? That's why he's the lost shopkeeper.
Oh, okay.
So,
Leandri salesman.
Yeah. He went on a delivery and he never came back.
He's hiding out in Korea.
Yeah.
Mystic is AFK. Okay, he's back. And it's kind of annoying, the Ace Null. But we're just kind of waiting here for the Baron of the Infernal to spawn. There's going to be Infernal Soul.
Yeah.
Point for Afreeca if they take it. And Baron comes up here now.
Baron's up right now, but Dynamic can't just start it. Oh, man. And here's what I'm worrying about is Karma's night and day spike of the Rabadon's Death Cap. I don't think she's going to have it for either one of these dances, and that is so problematic. She's sitting on double needlessly large rod right now, so close to that spike.
Ooh, that was actually close, but immediately a giant shield follows it up.
And Spirit doesn't have 16. I wonder how close he is to getting it. that would be a really interesting stat. You know, Wolves are up. Maybe he's going to go over and try to pick those up. No, he's not.
This is where we need the gauge right under Spirit's name.
Yeah.
Like, just take away the health and mana for a second.
Dean? Nope.
So we can see him on
Wait,
the screen.
he's moving to... Ooh, Raptors might do it. Raptors might be 16. Maybe that's why he's over here just waiting.
Yeah.
Because you can see he's not moving up to golems, so it's not like he needs both. Is this...
Well, no.
Scuttle Crab, maybe? Scuttle
Hang on, Spirit.
All right, Scuttle Crab.
Yeah.
Can the observer, please?
No, it's not that. I think they gave that kill over to Mystic. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. This is the LCK special, by the way. The Baron. The Baron for the soul, you know. And
yeah. Well, Rich is nowhere to be found.
he's trying to line it up.
Okay.
He's trying to line up the shot onto Caitlyn.
Okay, Rich. Oh, there's the flash immediately comes in, and Spirit takes an amazing amount of damage, and Fly just being kited out. The Requiem comes in, but Fly is already dead, and that's going to be the kill onto the Caitlyn, though. Take a look at Keen, as they don't quite have the damage to take him out. Guger going to get the snipe there, and finally it looks like Keen is going to go down, as Guger, Beyond, and Kuzan, the ragtag group of kind of the supportive champions in this comp, are eventually just going to run them down.
Yeah.
As Karthus...
The shields are so insane, man.
Okay, some Qs. Trying to get it
Oh!
here. Oh, he nearly got it.
Oh!
Actually, there it is. They take out the Olaf, and these two can't do Baron alone. And so we're going to have another song and a dance.
Well, that was... All right, so let's take a look at how this all transpired. So Fly really trolled the fight. I have no idea where he's going or why he just did what he did. I really have no idea. I wish I could tell you, Valdez, but literally anything else would have been a more positive result. Rich locking up Mystic. They end up bringing him down, which is so crucial. And then Karma...
What's going on in live here? What is this?
What is going on here?
Kuzan and Rich in a really precarious situation. Rich is just going to die. And yeah, Olaf is dead. Just burst it.
Olaf is...
Get the...
Yeah, Spirit.
They're trying to deny the burst coming out, but Smite is going to not. Okay, that... Neither jungler was there, actually. Forgot that Spirit also died in the trade, so it does go the way of Afreeca. That is massive.
Was absolutely stealable by Dynamics.
Oh yeah, for
sure.
sure.
So scary of a situation.
This series is crazy, by the way. I don't know why we've had this insane back and forth for 2 games in a row now.
And Karthus almost at the Rabadon's death cap as well now.
The Monka W state.
Yeah, this is absolutely the Monka W.
I mean, either team could win from here
Still
now.
no Solari, by the way. I really don't know what's going on with it. So we come back into live, and immediately we end up at the right-hand side. Kuzan stuck between a rock and a hard place. He can't really go to the right. Fly would just eventually hit him with the Scatter of the Week. And Rich is looking kind of poor with some of the decisions that he's been making.
It was a good hook by Ben, but at the same time, as you mentioned, like, why is Rich there? Like, I guess he didn't expect the Nautilus to round the bend. It's one scary, big nautical monster. And, yeah, just able to get that hook down. Rich with no flash in the fight, not able to get out of there. Burst down. There's still so much insane value for Dynamics with all their shields. And we have a Giant's Belt next for the Olaf, so no Solari as a 5th item. But maybe we'll get there eventually. Maybe Lux is gonna build it with her 1,200 health. Again, I'm a little bit tilted, not gonna lie. And yeah, now we're kind of running it down mid.
K-Ram.
Yeah.
What is happening here?
No flanks from the other side.
When is the last time you saw a team with Infernal Soul being so cautious and defensive? I think it really does speak volumes to a little bit of a Diffy in the Driffy. You know, I mean, that's just what it is. Oh, man. Team gets tagged, ends up being spotted out.
And this is just posturing. Check your posture, because we can tell that both these teams are never-ending. Straightening out of the back, bending over, looking for the angle, peeking around the corner. It's very difficult for Keith Rich. What is Spirit is in the weirdest spot. He's immediately just gonna die. And there you go. Has to throw out Requiem, but there's 0 follow-up. They don't want to fight a 4v5, and that should be Baron going the way of Team Dynamics. No jungler here for Afreeca.
Yeah, I really don't know. And, I mean, Karma, she has Athene's at 250, just waiting to give someone a shield.
Yeah.
That is a pretty big heal. Redemption comes out, heals everyone up as well. And Spirit, I mean, using the Requiem when he did, a little bit surprising. The K-Trap's rich. Doesn't have flash, but he's looking for... Okay, he's been spotted out. It looks like Afreeca are going to give up the Baroon and just decide to shove in mid. We're going to get one last song and a dance here in this fight. We got 2.5 minutes until the Elder is going to come up.
This is just spotted by the scanner.
Well, Spirit just in one of the most peculiar spots.
Bizarre even.
Yeah. Bewildering, truly.
Yeah. Unfathomable. For real.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is definitely one of the sloppiest games. Now Spirit's he's a good player. Don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be a game that he's going to look back on with warm thoughts and nice feelings.
Oh, lock it!
Did it. He did it.
Sold his giant spell and
there you go.
Lock it.
He heard us.
He did actually, yeah.
Maybe Boris heard us. Told us. There you go. Thanks, shopkeeper. Convinced beyond. Ooh, that's you don't want to step on the traps. It's generally not what you want to do. As Caitlyn is pretty out of control right now. You see that Ben, I believe that was Ben, could have been Keen, looking for the flank here, but there's so much wardage. It was Ben. He's going to come back and join the team, so it should be double inhibitor here, you'd imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the TP.
Keen is looking to end the game here.
They're already backing, they know.
They know. Oh, well, Mantra on cooldown.
Oh,
Mantra on cooldown.
Now they definitely know Keen is back here. That stun really close to hitting Rich, but nobody from Afreeca was really available to follow up. And so the return to the inhibitor.
Fly. It does not make a whole lot of sense. The decisions that he's making on Syndra.
Well,
he's being so reserved.
Yeah. And at this point in the game, the value of the Syndra is just like, he barely even exists.
Syndra? Thought it was Janna.
Lost sight.
30 minutes.
I could see why you might have thought that way.
Yeah.
And eventually, he will get a death cap. But against all these shields and the defensive itemization of Team Dynamics, Syndra generally not going to have a fun time in the later stages of the game. So that's what we're talking about. Obviously, once you do get Void Staff, Death Cap, and Infernal Soul, he's not going to be Janna, but he's going to, he's going to be like Teemo. But either way, I might just be trying to get the Banshee's Baron, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, so Baron is dissipated, and as long as there's a minion wave in close proximity to this Elder, the fight can still end the game for Afreeca. But with the way that the wave is hurting in top lane, those super minions will end the game.
Oh, here we go! Trying to get on top of Duckdown, but he has the room in the back, and the Requiem doesn't do the damage. Keen is going to go down. We have Mystic, though, trying to go 200 years. Can he do it? He's trying to frontline here as Duckdom is going to do the damage. Spirit now trying to flash on in as Beyond has taken so much damage. The Syndra ultimate comes in as Fly is all alone. He is not okay. He's still on the run, and there you go. The Q will do it, and Team Dynamics will be able to take the game number 2. All they got to do is run up to this massive wave in the top lane.
Yeah, they have teleports. Yeah, this should definitely be. I mean, Ben is going to come up, but we are going to a game number 3.
This is going to go the distance. We see that Ben, though, he's trying to come on in here, and with the massive shielding, they're trying to auto it down. Should be able to. Ben is so sad, as he wished he could do anything against the shields. GG. There you go. That was like a 45-minute game. This Team Dynamics eventually did come ahead in the end of that one, as Duck Dom getting the hugs and the grapples from the coach. As it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, I suppose, in that game. We've had 2 insane games in a row. Sometimes it's not the pristine League of Legends that brings the excitement and energy to the Rift. And I think this series is a pretty good example of that.
Well, I mean, it's a very big draft gap, and the game was very chaotic. Keen played phenomenally in early and mid game, and then there's just not much that Aurelia can do. Mystic tried to 200 years at a few points, but I mean, it's just very problematic. It would have been way worse if Olaf just itemized correctly sooner.
Yeah.
So many of the fights would have been so much worse. So it's really hard. And even with the Infernal Soul and everything, it doesn't matter. And Syndra and Karthus, I mean, they hate each other. Karthus hates her a little bit more because Syndra not able to really do anything in this game. And it's because of each other that it really harms themselves.
Yeah.
With the itemization that they incentivized against it. And we saw time and time again, Aphelios can't play. Nautilus doesn't have a target. Who's he trying to engage onto? And while the fights look very close, it's because of it is Afreeca versus Dynamics. And if you remember the Caitlyn getting hooked by the Nautilus, I mean, that's one of the reasons the game went so much longer than it did.
Ben was trying to smurf a bit in this game. And he did multiple times, but I suppose not, just as much as a support Nautilus could do in that game is what he was able to do. So very, very crazy game number 2, maybe even crazier than game number 1. And I would expect the same for game 3.
Oh no.
If trends make sense.
No thanks.
The guys will be back after the break for game number 3.
천천히 앞에. 나 죽었고 나 살아나. 버려야 될 것 같은데 근데. 나 실드 주면서 해보면 안 되냐? 야, 천천히 봐봐. 상황이 실드 돼? 야, 잡으면 끝나. 잡으면 끝나. 잡으면 끝나.
아, 야, 살짝 애매한데?
럭스 있어. 이거 카르마는 TP 타고.
나이스.
TP.
미니언 겁나 아파. 기다려봐.
호텔 15초야. 그냥 TP 가야 될 것
어.
같아.
잘못 눌렀네. 아, 하나님.
하하님 제발 하하님. 호텔 10초. 끝난 거 같아. 끝났어.
펀치.
와,
펀치, 고사리 손.
호텔 그냥 무시해. 다음만 때려. 펀치. 헛. 둘. 셋. 무시. 제발 하하님. 아 핵만. 하하님 부처님. 알라신님 제발요.
고사리 손. 얘 잡아야 될 것 같아.
나이스.